Yeah, this is going to be a rant, but I'm going to talk about something. I'm going to talk about a few things. The first thing is the lack of accountability. You have the older generation. They love to talk about how the younger generation lack accountability. Well, to tell you the truth, the older generations are guilty of this as well, because some of the things that's happening right now, a lot of the older generation of people could have stopped it. A lot of the social ills, a lot of the problems that young people face today, the older generation had the ability to stop it, but they didn't. So they decided to do their own thing. They decided to do what they want to do. So instead of solving the problem, they left the problem as it was, and they let it fester to the point that those very same problems that was there in the past has been circulating into the future. And now you got the younger people suffering because of those past dilemmas. And there's another thing I want to talk about too. There's another thing I want to talk about. Oh yeah, being a loner, being an outcast. And to tell you the truth, everybody wants to belong. I will admit that. Even me. Everybody wants to belong in something. Everybody, don't want to be alone, because think about it. We're human beings. We're social creatures. We need to have some type of social interactions. But then I realized something, man. I really realized something. As me being a so-called outcast, not being an outcast, for the most part, I realized that trying to fit in, it's not it's not a good thing to do, because if people don't accept you for who you are, fuck them. You just gotta, like, for the most part, as an outcast, you have to find things that brings joy to your heart. You have to find activities. You may have to go outside and just find things that you like to do and just stick with it. Because there's different activities that's out there. Different activities that you might be interested in, and you can go on ahead and master it. And in some cases, if you can monetize that activity, if you can monetize your gift, go on ahead and do that. But for the most part, go on out, just go out there in the world, find different activities that you're into, or that you have a gift in it. So just find activities that you're good at, and then maybe, just maybe, you might find a couple of people that you can interact with and make friends with. Because I realize, because like I said before, man, being an outcast does have its benefits. Number one, you're not into a lot of drama, and number two, you don't have to deal with fake people. You don't have to deal with fake and annoying people. Because when I was, trying to socialize and all this stuff, trying to, and just observing the people and their conversations, I realized that a lot of these motherfuckers are just fake and phony. They really are. And by observing these fake and phony people, it just made me realize that the path that I was in, was better. The path of me being an outcast was better off. I was better off being an outcast. I was better off sticking to the path that I was in, because by hanging out with these people, trying to fit in, and then you realize that the conversations are null and are very dull. I realized that, for my honest opinion, from my viewpoint and what I needed, I realized that I needed meaningful conversations with people. I needed, deep rooted, meaningful conversations, not just, superficial conversations about, about fashion and celebrities and all that shit. No, what I'm saying? I needed deep, meaningful conversations. Like, for example, the books that you read, talking about history, and for the most part, knowing who you are as a human being on this planet. Those deep, meaningful conversations. By discussing about philosophy, history, and just human introspective, being reflective, basically just knowing who you are as a human being. Those are the deep, meaningful conversations that I like to, talk that I like to stick with, that I like to talk about. But other than that, man, it just made me a little bit more appreciative. It just give me more. It just makes me more appreciative of me being an outcast because I don't have to deal with the fake and phony people that's out here. You know, I'm kind of talking fast right now because I just woke up, so please forgive me. Um, but yeah, man, I'm just I have more appreciation of just being an outcast because dealing with these people, man, it's just draining. And I may be, to tell you the truth, I'm an ambivert. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else, I have a balance of an introvert and extrovert, but I lean more into the introverted side. But for the most part, I'm an ambivert, so I have a good balance of being an introvert and an extrovert. But but yeah, man, and also too, I'm also a black sheep in my family for some type of reason. I don't know why. Because I graduated from school, I'm doing my thing, but I'm still labeled as an outcast per se. In the so-called black community. And speaking of the black community, growing up in grammar school, junior high, high school, I was considered an outcast too. Some people labeled me as a nerd because I was studious, whatever. I was stayed in my books and all that stuff. I studied, trying to do the right thing. So I was considered a nerd by my peers in the black community. You know, and also too, I kind of realized this too, but I'm gonna say it right now. Um, it was a couple of black YouTubers, and they was geeks, and they said the same thing that I was thinking. They were saying the same thing that I was thinking. Like, don't get it twisted. When it comes to like, for example, if you go to a different community, if you go to a mostly predominantly white school or white community, those same black YouTubers who were geeks, they said the same thing that I was thinking. They said, don't get it twisted. Those white people will put you in a box. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about you that much because for what how can I put this? When it comes to the eyes of the Caucasian people, when it comes to black people, to them, they view you as a stereotype. So they put you in the box of being an athlete or being a funny guy or being a smooth, suave type of black guy. Anything else, they would deem you as unworthy. They would deem you as weird because from their viewpoint, they believe that black people only have a couple of boxes that they can fit in. Either the smooth player type, or being an athlete, or being a funny guy. And, what I'm saying? For example, if you are a black guy that's a nerd or a geek that's into cosplay, that's into comic books, those Caucasian people, not all of them, but a nice amount of them, they would view you as weird, or they would view you as unworthy because it's like you're not worthy of joining their their community. You're not worthy of joining. You're not worthy of those type of activities that they're doing. So they will put you in a box, and that's that. And that's very sad, and that's very unfortunate. But that's how it is. But yeah. But just going back, just being an outcast, man. Like I said, it has its ups and downs, but for the most part, you're just trying to find a meaningful connection with people. And because, I realize, people who are outcasts, they may be misunderstood, but for the most part, like from my viewpoint, like outcasts like me, we just need, more meaningful conversations. We just need more meaningful, you know, interactions with people instead of just superficial bullshit that's going on out here. Because, like I said before, I said this before. I said this before a long time ago. People love lies, and that is so true. People really do love lies, and people lack accountability for their actions. And by those things, there's no order. You know what I'm saying? There's no order. There's no peace. Because if people lack accountability for their actions and they want to do what they want to do, and not only that, but they're superficial when it comes to their thought process, there can never be no balance. There can never be no peace. There can never be no order. And by that, that's why I kind of stay by myself. Oh, and also too, man, for the most part, a lot of, like I said it before and I say it again, a lot of people are two-faced. They two-face it, like one day they cool with me, then the next day they're not. And, it made me, sometimes I think that maybe people are bipolar, but then I realize a whole lot of people ain't bipolar. It's just that a lot of these motherfuckers just say shit, and you see their true colors. And that's why I tend to be by myself, because these motherfuckers are just, they're no good. They're no good, man. They say that they this, but in reality, their actions prove otherwise. You know what I'm saying? I realize a lot of people are just not good, and that's why I tend to stay by myself. It's very sad, it's very depressing, but that's what I've experienced. People say one thing, but then they do another. People are turncoats. People are two-faced. They'll like you one day, but then they don't. You think people are bipolar, but then you realize a lot of people ain't bipolar. It's just that a lot of these motherfuckers just ain't shit. They really ain't shit, man. They just horrible people. You know what I'm saying? Plus, they don't give a damn about you. So that's why I just tend to stay to myself. You know what I'm saying? Be to myself, stay to myself. And for the most part, I don't trust nobody. I don't trust nobody. And it sounds sad and depressing, but that's how it is. Because I've experienced a lot of things with people. So it is what it is, man. But that's all I got to say about that, man. Sure, that's all I got to say. The lack of accountability and, being a social being an outcast, by humans. It just is what it is, man. I just got to keep on pushing and just take it day by day. But that's all I got to say about that, man. That's all. That's all I got to say. So, yeah, man. So, thank you so much and have a good day.